Imagine buying one of the most beloved sci-fi franchises in television history. Imagine spending months developing a brand new series. Imagine hiring people who actually worked on Stargate. Imagine putting together a writer's room. Imagine opening a production office. Imagine hiring major production talent. And then imagine looking at the finished plans and saying, hang on a minute, this feels a bit too much like Stargate. Apparently, that's where we are now, because Amazon has reportedly pulled the plug on the new Stargate project, and the reason being reported is one of the most baffling pieces of corporate logic I've seen in a long time. According to reports, executives were worried it wouldn't appeal to a broad enough audience beyond the existing fan base. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to watching nonsense unfold, because this is absolute nonsense. If you've watched my previous Stargate video, you'll know why many fans were cautiously optimistic. This wasn't being handed to people who had never watched the franchise. Martin Guerrero was involved, Brad Wright was involved, Joseph Malozzi was involved. The project wasn't being pitched as a complete wipe the slate clean reboot. The idea was reportedly to continue the established Stargate universe and respect the existing canon from SG-1, Atlantis and Universe. Now think about that for a second. As a Stargate fan, that's probably exactly what you'd want. You don't spend nearly 2 decades building lore, characters, mythology and history only to throw it all away. At least that's what most fans would probably say. Apparently, not everyone agreed. This is where the nonsense really begins, because according to reports, executives became concerned that the project relied too much on existing lore and wouldn't attract enough newcomers. Now look, I understand the business argument. Television isn't cheap. Modern streaming sci-fi is incredibly expensive. Nobody is expecting Amazon to spend a fortune on something that only 10 people watch. I get that, but there's a huge difference between make the show accessible and remove the things that make it Stargate. Those are not the same thing. One is sensible, the other is how franchises end up becoming generic mush. Here's the bit that really makes me laugh. The thing Amazon appears worried about is the exact thing that made Stargate successful. Stargate SG-1 didn't launch as some giant cultural phenomenon. It grew. It built an audience. It built loyalty. It built trust. People fell in love with Jack O'Neill, with Samantha Carter, with Daniel Jackson, with Teal'c. The mythology expanded over years. The Goa'uld, the Ancients, the Asgard, Atlantis, the Ori. Everything grew organically. Nobody sat there in 1997 demanding that SG-1 instantly appeal to every human being on the planet. The audience came because the show was good. Funny how that works. And I think this highlights a bigger issue in modern entertainment. Everything has to be huge immediately. Every new show has to be the next blockbuster, the next phenomenon, the next franchise, the next mega hit. If it doesn't dominate social media on day one, somebody in a boardroom starts sweating. The old television model allowed shows room to breathe. Streaming doesn't seem particularly interested in breathing. It wants immediate global success. And that's a dangerous mindset, because niche audiences are often where great franchises begin. This is the part that genuinely amazes me. The project reportedly wasn't some vague idea on a whiteboard. A lengthy writer's room had already happened. Production offices had reportedly been opened. Major talent had been hired. We're not talking about somebody doodling Stargate maybe on a napkin. This was moving forward, and then somebody suddenly realised, wait, Stargate fans might be the main audience. Good grief, who could possibly have predicted that? Certainly not the people making a Stargate show, apparently. Another reported factor was leadership changes inside Amazon, and honestly, that sounds very believable. We've seen this before. One group of executives approves a project. Another group arrives later. The new people want different things. The old plans get thrown away. Years of work disappear. Fans are left wondering what happened. Hollywood has been doing this for decades. It's just more expensive now. Well, this is where Stargate fans might get nervous. Reports suggest Amazon still wants to use the franchise. They're not walking away. The concern is what comes next. Because if the continuation approach is gone, what replaces it? A hard reboot? A total reset? A version made by people with no connection to the franchise? Maybe. And if that's the plan, Amazon is taking a very big gamble. Because history isn't exactly full of examples where beloved franchises ignored their fanbase and achieved universal success. Quite often the opposite happens. You alienate the loyal audience, the new audience never turns up, and everyone loses. For me, the funniest part of this entire story is how backwards it feels. If I owned Stargate, I'd be asking one question. What do Stargate fans want? Start there. Build something solid. Make it good. Let word of mouth do its thing. Then expand. Instead, the industry seems obsessed with reaching everyone before they've convinced anyone. And that's why we keep ending up here. Another franchise, another reboot discussion, another cancelled project, another boredom convinced they found the secret formula, and another group of fans wondering whether anyone making the decisions has actually watched the show. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And if you're new here, this channel is all about breaking down TV, films, reboots, remakes, and all the strange decisions being made across modern entertainment. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Amazon made the right decision? Would you have preferred Martin Garrow's continuation series? Or are you actually open to a complete Stargate reboot from scratch? And here's the big one. Can Stargate survive without SG-1, Atlantis, and all that existing history? Let me know in the comments, because this one feels like we're watching nonsense unfold in real time.